good to go.
All right, welcome back to the Bank On It podcast presented by Appalachian Newspapers. As always, to my left, Regional Sports Director Randy White, super producer Cory Vance behind the camera, the human Swiss Army knife himself.
Can do it all.
And had some high school basketball going on all over the region, and you got out to some of those games. And tell us a little bit about some of the games you saw this week.
Yeah, over the weekend we had the PIT, the Pikeville Invitational, one of the longest-running high school tournaments in the state. Pikeville was out. Friday night, they fell to Louisville Central. It's just a 14-team team this year, a 14 tournament this year. Fell to Louisville Central. Pikeville looked really good early on. Got a little tired in that third quarter. Central got on a little run. They pulled out the win. Pikeville ended up finishing third. They won the consolation game. Louisville Central ended up winning the PIT. They beat Southwestern in the finals, and the other team in it was home. So a pretty good little tournament there. And then up at Pike Central, they had their Buffalo Wild Wings tournament. Shelby Valley was in there. Pike Central actually got 2 games in. They won both of their games over Buckhorn. They got a win over Buckhorn, and it was a pretty good game. Shelby Valley, that was the talk after the weekend. Cody Potter again, 27 points, 10 rebounds. He was kind of the story of the tournament, I guess.
It up early on.
So early on, he's one of those players that's just really standing out. Shelby Valley improved to 5-0 on the year. Belfry was in there; they fell in their game. So a lot of high school basketball going on this weekend. UPike will kick back up tomorrow night, so a lot of local stuff going on right now, and there'll be more and more basketball coming up this week as well. So
yeah, really just getting things started as far as that goes, and then as far as this time of year goes, we obviously were getting into the heat of things. All right, here's some clips from last week's games, including the Buffalo Wild Wings shootout and the Pikeville Invitational. Check them out. So UK basketball gotten back into the swing of winning games, going out against Utah, getting a big win, 88-61. You like to see them respond after such a tough loss to Seton Hall. It looks like some of the guys came out and played really well. Keldon Johnson comes back, has a really good game, has 24 points. Reed Travis maybe his kind of coming out party. You like to see him. I would like to see him take more of a leadership role. That's the oldest guy on the team.
Somebody has to emerge as the leader on this team. That's the thing that they're lacking. they shot the ball really well early on, especially. I thought that was a good sign. It looked like the defense improved some.
Yeah.
The guys were in there; they were moving better, better communication on defense. So it looked like a good step from the Seton Hall loss.
And hopefully Tyler Hero kind of shot himself back into. I know it's good for a guy like that to see the ball go in the basket a little bit. He had 17 points, kind of had a pretty good game. So you hope to see nothing but improvement from him, because I know that's another one of these freshmen that a lot of people had a lot of high hopes on coming into the season this year. So I would love to see Tyler Hero come out and really start shooting the ball better than he has, and not be a liability when he's on the court.
Well, I mean, the thing early on too, right now that with speaking of Tyler Hero, it looks like he's really comfortable shooting at Rupp. Whereas at Madison Square Garden, it looked like he was never comfortable.
A little too big for him.
So, maybe this early season and play some tough SEC games gets him ready down the stretch, because, they're going to need that scoring. They're going to need that outside shot. And, when you knock those outside shots down, Reed Travis can have a game like he had last week. So I think a lot of that played into it.
Yeah, it does nothing but help. And listen, a game like that could – turn out positive in a lot of different ways. I mean, it's not getting any easier for Kentucky going forward. I mean, Utah's, say what you want about the Utah team. Listen, we got UNC coming up.
Yeah,
we
that's
got
the
Louisville
game.
Coming up.
Yeah.
I mean, and then straight into SEC tournament play. And like we've said before, I think this year is the potential for the SEC to have the best year it's been in maybe 5 years, as far as there's just a lot of talent in the SEC this year. But that UNC game coming up is going to be a real big test, maybe the biggest test we've had since the Duke game.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be the biggest test since Duke. It's going to be an indicator, too, of where they're at right now. Even if they don't win, they come out and they play tough, they play hard-nosed. That's a good sign. What you don't want to see right now is another repeat of the Duke game. Now, if they do that, then there's a lot of work, and who knows if this young team can get there. But, if they come out and they fight hard, I think it's a good sign for them if they come out and play well, win, lose, or draw.
Well, definitely. And UNC's got a lot of talent. And then with a rivalry game, as we always say, anything can happen in those. But Louisville, I've seen play a few times this year. They look tough. Haven't seen a ton of UNC yet, but listen. That team's stacked with talent too. Number 9 team in the country, and that's going to give us a good sign of where things are right now, and how this team has really turned it around since that first game of the year against Duke, which was obviously just an absolute.
Well, you just want to see some fight in this team right now. I mean, that's what you want to see, because there was no fight in the Duke game. So if they come out and they put up a fight, that's really what you're looking for.
Yeah, so hopefully we'll see some good basketball from the Kentucky Hoops team. That's on the 22nd, so that's this Saturday at 5:15. And then just moving on straight into the Bengals. Got to win yesterday.
Got to win. Here's the question, though. You want to beat the Raiders, but still you go with the win. I know you don't want to just tank, but with that win, you go from a top 10 draft pick. Now you're sitting between 12 to 15.
Right.
What does that do for you?
Some people will argue, and the Raiders obviously a team that gave up on this season before the season even started. I mean, trading Khalil Mack and just dealing assets like Amari Cooper. I mean, obviously they're trying to set themselves up to have a good draft position going forward. I know I've heard and read a lot of Bengals fans, a lot of these different fan blogs arguing that maybe winning at this time of year for the Bengals, who are clearly not going anywhere, not the best thing in the world to do.
I mean,
but how do you feel about teams tanking for draft position?
It just depends on the situation.
Yeah.
To me, the situation with the Bengals is, if we're going to bring in a new coach, we're going to bring in new players, new quarterbacks. I mean, if that's what you're doing, if that's what you're doing, building for the future, then what does this win do for you? It just makes your draft stock go down. And there's a big difference between top 8 or 12 to 15. I mean, that's a big change in position in the draft to me. But, you never want to see a team to come out and just purposely lose. Yeah. But building-wise, for a franchise, it would make sense for them to do it. But you like to see Joe Mixon go out and do what he did yesterday. So
yeah, I mean, he had an excellent game yesterday. And, I mean, I think I've said the last couple of weeks that I thought the Bengals were probably the worst team in football.
Mm-hmm.
I'll probably have to take that one back. The Raiders looked real bad yesterday.
They were bad. They were
real
bad.
bad. And Mixon again, man, 27 carries, 129 yards, 2 touchdowns. Mixon is carrying the load right now.
Yeah.
And I think Tyler Boyd got hurt yesterday. Haven't really heard much about the extent of that injury.
I haven't heard much either.
That hurts.
Yeah, he's a solid number 2 with or without AJ Green there. Shown that he can make big catches, have big games, carry a team if he needs to. So, you want to see Boyd healthy and finish the year strong. But I've not really heard anything about the injury.
Yeah,
right
I haven't
now.
heard anything about the injury. Driscoll again had another just Jeff Driscoll game. I mean, he doesn't jump right out at you. I mean, it's not like he blew it away or anything, but he didn't. I mean, he had the interception, but he didn't kill you yesterday. He kind of just manages the game. And then a guy I like on this Bengals team is Alex Erickson.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why I like Alex Erickson. I like when he gets in there. He can make some things happen. I'd like to see him maybe get the ball a little bit more, and even John Ross with if Tyler Boyd ends up hurt, maybe you see a guy like John Ross get a little bit more of an opportunity to do some things, maybe find some creative ways to get him the ball in space.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens coming up for the Bengals.
Yeah,
So.
and then defensively, Hubbard looked really good yesterday. But
And Vigil, too.
Yeah,
Vigil had a
Vigil.
good game.
Both of those guys played really well. But moving on, some of the other things in the NFL yesterday, I thought the Patriots-Steelers game was a really important game overall in the standings. Pittsburgh found a way to win that one. Brady still looks sharp, but his receivers and his offensive players had some big drops. Gronk doesn't seem like he can get open anymore.
No, something he's not getting the separation that he used to get for sure, and just something looks different. Obviously, he's still a physical freak of nature out there, and anytime you have a target that big, and a guy like Tom Brady's going to find ways to get him the ball without a doubt. But that was a hard loss for the Patriots yesterday. They're probably still going to be in line to win that division at the end of the day, just because that division stinks.
Yeah,
that is a terrible division. And then with the Eagles. Nick Foles.
Hey, he looks like a Super Bowl winning quarterback, and he did it again last night. It reminds you of what happened last year with the Eagles.
I've heard him described as the closer of the NFL.
Yeah.
He's not a guy that's going to start the season out, be your starter from day one. But, hey, it looks like to me he's got to come up spot duty and get you some big wins down the stretch. And
then looking at the Rams, they're struggling right now. So
2 in a row.
Overall, right now, I mean, and then Cleveland is a team who's on fire right now. They're still alive in that playoff hunt.
Very easily could make the playoffs, and then the Chicago Bears obviously clinched the NFC North. To me, they're getting hot at just the right time. Mitchell Trubisky getting healthy at just the right time, and like I said, that defense will travel in the playoffs. And hey, the Rams don't have that home field locked up just yet, so. We'll see how that shakes out, but it's a great time of year for the NFL coming down the stretch, seeing where these guys end up or these teams end up in the playoffs, and should be fun to watch going forward. And big Monday nighter tonight with the Saints at the Panthers, so we'll see how the Saints look. Big divisional game.
Yeah.
All right, so with Christmas right around the corner, and that can only mean one thing. It's definitely one of my favorite times of the year, and that's college football bowl season kicking off. And it's going to be especially great for all of us Kentucky fans because the Cats are playing a New Year's Six bowl game. Big time game. Citrus Bowl versus Penn State. I mean, the latest thing I've got is Penn State right now 6.5-point favorites with that over-under at 47.5, which, I mean, it's just my personal opinion seems a little bit high, especially for a team like Kentucky with such a solid defense, and then, all of our guys are playing, which is huge.
Yeah, I mean, this is a huge game for Kentucky. We've talked about this before. This is the time you show up, and you want to be in this situation every year, getting these big New Year's games. Show up, play. Find a way to win this game. I mean, to me, this is critical for Kentucky if they want to earn that respect. They want to get there and stay there. I mean, we've got to bowl games in the past under Stoops. We haven't got a win yet. So, in Stoops' career right now, too, I think this is a huge game for him as well. So, a lot on the line for UK.
Yeah, this is going to be a big one. And I guess in my mind, the only person I was truly worried about that might sit out of this game is Josh Allen, just because he's already projected to be such a high draft pick. But, I mean, that's a guy that's lost a couple of bowl games under Stoops. I mean, you like to think that he's ready to get out there, try to get this team a big bowl win, which would be the biggest bowl win in recent memory. I can't remember a bigger one than this one.
I mean, you'd have to go back to the Outback Bowl when Tim Couch was playing, just the same size as one.
Yeah, obviously in my mind, the biggest things are going to be, can Kentucky control the clock on offense with the running game, and then what can they do to Penn State's offense on the other side of the ball. Now,
well, third down is going to be key for this offense. We've got to have, successful first and second downs, whether it's running, quick hits, or whatever. We can't go into third and longs against Penn State because this offense is not designed to get those 10 yards, those 12 yards, those 15 yards. So, to me, what I'm going to be looking for with this offense is what we do on first and second down. Can we get those 3-4 yard chunks on first and second down?
Yeah, definitely. And then just how they use Terry Wilson in this game, I think, is going to end up being big. I mean, I think you've got to control the clock with the running game. You're going to have a chance to take 3, 4, maybe 5 shots in this game, but I don't think you got to force it. With Terry Wilson, I mean, seems like he plays better when they're able to move him outside of the pocket, let him dink and dunk the ball kind of down the field, get it outside to guys like Lynn Bowden and let them make plays. And obviously they're gonna lean heavy on Benny Snell on this one. I personally don't think, other than maybe Michigan, I'm not sure Penn State's seen a defense as good as ours.
I don't think so.
And that's a homer's perspective, but I truly don't think that Penn State's seen a defense as good as
ours. The thing about Kentucky all year that's really stood out is the defense. Like, I think they've established themselves as one of the top defenses in the country. So if they come out and they stop that run early on, and they put them in tough situations and they pressure a quarterback, we're going to be in the game. I mean, it's just a matter of if the offense can do their part, because I think the defense will. But if the defense gets ran down is the key. We can't stay out there too long.
That's it. And like we've talked about all year long, we cannot get down early.
No,
can't get down early.
No.
I mean, that's a bad sign for us. But and we've talked about it before, that I think Terry Wilson, hopefully coming off that win against Louisville, have a lot of confidence, feeling pretty good about the way he played the last time they were out there on that field. And with this much time to prepare, you really never know. Obviously, we're probably going to see Penn State at the best that they've been since the first or second week of the season, but we're also going to be that way too.
Well, I think you just touched on something that is key, is the time to prepare.
Yeah.
In these bowl games, that usually the difference in winning and losing is who is the most prepared, whose game plan is best, and who sticks to it. Now, Kentucky's, we all know the game plan: run the ball, move it. Now, if we can't do it, then what happens if we can't stick to that game plan? I think that's a big key.
That's it. And to me, I feel like most of the experts that I've seen, not too many people, I like being the underdog. Not too many people are picking Kentucky right now. And that's kind of the way, as a fan, I like to go in as the underdog. Now, 47.5 combined points, I don't see that. I look for it to be around 24-21 Kentucky. That's kind of the score I predicted. But
so you like the under on that?
I like the under on that one for sure. Most of the time, I'm the exact opposite. I live by, life's too short to bet the under. But in this particular game, I just think Kentucky's defense come out, hopefully be able to set the tone. We're going to be able to bang around in the running game and really control the clock. And hopefully Terry Wilson can make a couple of big plays down the field. We've got some guys that can do that with Lynn Bowden. So hopefully that's what we'll see from Kentucky, and we'll see the best Kentucky team we've seen all year this year and get Mark Stoops' first bowl win, which would be huge.
Yeah, and the thing that also is going to be huge is these guys, like you said, they've played in these bowl games and not have. That's the pride. That's the school pride coming in.
Yeah.
That's how you build programs, is when guys have pride in where they play in the bowl games, because they want to finish strong for the future.
Yeah, and that's something that you're seeing a lot more and more of these days, is some of the top talent on some of these teams, unless they're in the college football playoff. It seems to be a trend that's growing as these guys sitting out of the bowl game, just because it's a shame that pro scouts put more stock into Senior Bowl and Combine, which how many guys have had a great Combine workout and they just don't pan out in the NFL? To me, what should matter is what you see on the film.
Well, absolutely, but I mean, you also have to look at for like these top programs as well. These guys who are used to playing for national championships, if they don't win a national championship, what are they playing for?
Yeah, that's true.
To me, I see both sides of the argument. But, Will Greer, I can see that. He thinks he wants to improve his stock, and he doesn't want to risk an injury.
Yeah.
Now, from a fan's perspective, if I was a WVU fan, I probably wouldn't be too happy about that.
No.
But, I can look at it at objectively as well and see the player side because there's millions of dollars on the line.
Exactly. And, I can definitely see both sides, too. Obviously, it hurts seeing some of your stud players sitting out those games. But listen, falling 3, 4, even 5 places in the draft makes a huge difference.
Every spot you fall, yeah.
Yeah, and the amount of money. And these NFL contracts, for the most part, very little guaranteed dollars. So, you can definitely see both sides. But hopefully Kentucky comes out. There's going to be a ton of Kentucky fans in Orlando. I already know a lot of people that are making plans to be down there. So hopefully Kentucky can come out with a huge win. And then going straight into the two big ones, obviously the college football playoffs. You've got the first one obviously jumps out at me is the Oklahoma and Alabama game.
Yeah.
By far the biggest over-under I've seen so
By
far.
I don't know if I've seen that ever in a national championship situation. 80 for an over and under.
Yeah.
That's the line I saw.
Yeah, I got 80 and a half is what I've seen everywhere.
That's ridiculous. But honestly, when you look at the two teams, that's probably not out of the question. It's probably about right. You would expect both of them to put up around 40.
Yeah, that's not a crazy number. It's higher than any of the other bowl games where we're talking about two teams that, listen, Oklahoma's had to score basically 40 a game all year just to win because their defense can't stop anybody. What's interesting to me is the Tua Kyler Murray match. While obviously they're not going up against each other, I'm of the opinion Tua should have won the Heisman.
Yeah.
I think he was the best player all year this year. I think Kyler Murray won it basically the last 2 weeks. Obviously, he had a really good year this year. But Tua was just so dominant all year. And then, with his injury.
Yeah, I think that hurt him a lot, too, in the Heisman standings. But, I don't know if I've seen a college quarterback that dynamic since Michael Vick. The guy can throw, he can run, he can do a little bit of everything. He's scary with his skill set, what he can do out there.
And then with a Bama team like that, for me anyway, I think Jalen Hurts, you have Tua, whoever, I expect Bama to come out. I think that will be a close game. I don't look for Bama to blow Oklahoma out. I think it's a close game. I take the over. 80
you
points.
like the over?
I like the over. I put the score probably, I got a prediction here, 42-41 Bama. I think it ends up being close, but I think it could very easily go into the hundreds total.
It very easily could. Or, and sometimes games like this, the bigger the game, the tighter the offenses get. I could see it either way. And Bama's got a lot of talent on defense.
Yeah.
So, but then again, that could also just mean that they just score from defense and just helps that total over-under number. So,
yeah, that's true. So we'll see what happens to that. And then the second college football playoff game, Clemson Notre Dame. I think this one is kind of split down the middle. So, right now Clemson 13.5-point favorites over Notre Dame. I think I've mentioned to you before, and I'm happy to mention it here. I'm kind of a closet Notre Dame fan.
Yeah.
It's probably about 50% Rudy related, but I like Notre Dame in this one. I think it'll be close. I'm a big Ian Book guy. I like Notre Dame's quarterback situation. I don't love the fact that Clemson's coming in with a freshman quarterback, but Clemson's got a nasty defense.
Yeah, Clemson is. They expect to be there. They're almost like the Alabama at this point.
They're as close as there is.
They're the closest thing in college football to Alabama. They rival them with the type of talent they bring in, especially up front on defense. Defensive line, they might have the best defensive line in the country. Always have talent up there, big guys, fast guys that get to a quarterback. So, Clemson is a tough one for me. If I'm just looking at the matchup, I like Clemson, but 13 points, that's a big point spread there. So, the bookie's not really giving Notre Dame a whole lot of love on this one.
I don't guess they should. Notre Dame is classically, kind of come up small a little bit when they get in these big games, and then, they don't play a conference championship game. I look for both of these college football playoff games to be closer than the point spread has.
Yeah.
both of the point spreads are basically 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
I think both of them will be closer than that. The over-under 55 total points. I mean, both of these teams can score. But
I think that right there, if I was betting that one, I think I'd take the over all day on that one.
Yeah, I think the over will end up hitting on that one, too. I look for it to be, 38-31, somewhere in that neighborhood. I do like Notre Dame to come out and win. But Clemson wouldn't surprise me if they won. They've got easily probably 4 number 1 picks on their defensive line. So that's a team that can, and I'd just personally like to see somebody other than Alabama and Clemson play for another national championship.
Yeah, I would too. But honestly, if I'm just looking at it, I think I like both of them to meet each other. It'd be great to see 2 other teams. But at some point, I know a lot of people are Alabama fans around here because they play in the SEC. But to me, at some point, it becomes stagnant. Like you need new blood, you need new storylines. But the Dabo Swinney and Nick Saban, can he overcome that? That's a storyline. So there's some good stories either way if they happen to meet each other in the championship.
I do, however, think Clemson's a better matchup for Alabama than Notre Dame. I look for that to be a replay of that 2010 year. I think if Clemson or if Notre Dame and Alabama play each other, I think Alabama will probably beat them by. I think that's more of a 2 touchdown spread than the first game against Oklahoma. So, to me, Clemson is the better matchup against Bama, but I like Notre Dame to beat Clemson, and that makes no sense, but that's just how I like it. So we'll see how those games are. What's another one of these bowl games that kind of jump out at you as being something that you want to settle in really?
The one me and you have talked about a few times is Michigan and Florida. I think that matchup right there is very intriguing.
I like it.
That's one of those games that I think they're very evenly matched. Both of them defensive minded. I think it's going to be a really tough game. I picked Michigan to win it on my shape, but I think it could go either way. I think it's a coin toss game.
Me too. I had Michigan to win that game. It's 7.5 point spread over under 50.5 is what I have it at. I think Michigan. The big thing will be how let down are they, because they were right on the verge of being in that college football playoff. They beat Ohio State, and they're more than likely they're in there. Yeah. So. We'll see how that one. One of the games I really like is LSU versus UCF. Yeah. I think it'll be interesting to see. UCF claimed to be the national champions last year. Yeah. They went undefeated. Another undefeated season this year.
If they win that, they've got an argument that they should have been included in the playoff, or the playoff needs to be expanded. They go 12-0 and they beat a LSU team. They've got an argument.
Yeah, LSU's got a good defense. Right now, LSU is the favorite in that game. Yeah. 7.5 point favorite in that game. So UCF not getting a lot of respect. But listen, their schedule, they really don't play. They were tested a couple of times this year by teams like Memphis, but this will be by far the best team they play.
Oh, absolutely,
no question.
But
that.
Just as a college football fan in general, I'd love to see them pull the upset, just to have that argument to be made that. Hey, maybe this thing needs to be expanded to more than 4 teams, to at least 8.
I agree with you. I think that would definitely be good for college football if UCF wins. And I'm a big proponent of going to an 8-team playoff. Yep. I think then you just get chances to give teams like this get in there and decide it on the field. That's the great thing about college basketball is they decide it on the court. I would love to see college football go maybe more to that and get a little bit more parity in there in the college football playoff and get teams like UCF, who obviously had a great season, a chance to get in there and see what they've got on the field against some of the best teams in the country.
Yeah, and just to wrap the college football bowl up, who do you like as the national championship when it's all said and done? Who do you think's coming out?
You got to love Bama. Right now I just think they're leaps and bounds above anybody else in my eyes, just from what I've seen all year. So I take Bama regardless of if it's Tua or Jalen Hurts, whoever plays. I think Bama just comes away with another one.
I agree. I think Bama wins it. I'd like to see one of Oklahoma or Notre Dame win just for a storyline underdog, but I don't see anybody beating Bama.
I don't see anybody beating. I think Oklahoma does have the best chance. Running quarterbacks traditionally give Bama fits.
Absolutely.
So we'll see. We'll see what Oklahoma has for them, but right now, to me, Bama's got to be the odds-on favorite to win that. So, but lots of good games, plenty of time to binge watch some college football. We'll definitely be watching and be on the lookout next week for the Appalachian Newspapers All-Mountain team. We've got a special podcast recorded for that. So that will be coming out with a special insert in the paper that week. And be on the lookout for the podcast to go along with that. Lots of good players in the region. And we definitely want you all to stick around and take a look at that.
Yeah, one final look at the football season with that. And we'll have a couple interviews from Coach of the Year, Player of the Year. So plenty of stuff about football, and we'll put our final wrap on it next week with that podcast.
Yeah, definitely. And give us a like and a subscribe. And be sure to check out our brand new Instagram, Twitter pages. Go on there. Like I said before, if there's anybody you'd like to see us interview or talk about, any topics, you can definitely leave us a comment on any of those, Twitter, Instagram, or on our YouTube channel right here.